This is the Atlanta Small Business Show with Jim Fitzpatrick.
Hello everyone, I'm Jim Fitzpatrick. Thank you very much for joining us on another edition of the Atlanta Small Business Show. On today's show, we speak to Blake Morgan, customer experience futurist and author of More is More: How the Best Companies Go Farther and Work Harder to Create Knock Your Socks Off Customer Experiences. Welcome to the Atlanta Small Business Show, Blake.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So talk to us about, that's a great name, by the way, More is More. Talk to us about the book, the motivation behind writing it, and maybe some of the takeaways.
So I believe that customer experience is this huge competitive advantage. And the idea that more is more, it's not about more stuff for your customers. It's about being more thoughtful, more considerate about what life is actually like for your individual customer and doing something to make their life easier and better. So that's truly the name of the game. Using customer experience as a competitive advantage. And now it's not about advertising or marketing. It's really about raw business value, raw value to the customer. What are you doing to make their lives easier and better?
So give us an example of that.
Well, most of us are Amazon customers, and Amazon has truly just personalized every single interaction with the customer. They have changed consumer demands. So consumers now expect things to be shipped to their home within 2 days. And so it's really made every retailer out there sweat a little to figure out how they can keep up with Amazon. And actually, Amazon has put a lot of retailers out of business because they just cannot keep up with the shift in consumer demand. And so all of us have been impacted by Amazon, whether we are selling on Amazon, competing with Amazon, or we're an Amazon customer benefiting from their incredible scaled operation.
Yeah, there's no question about it. It's alive and well out there. Although Amazon would remind us that 50% of the products that they sell on there actually come from small business people, and many in your own community, which is kind of cool, right?
Oh, yes. They have a lot of small businesses on their platform. I was just actually at Amazon headquarters for an influencer event, and they had small business owners come in and talk to us about what it's like doing business with Amazon. But I think that even small businesses need to be on their toes because Amazon, of course, creates their own products. So they have intimate knowledge of what the small business owners are doing, what works. And so they will just take products and create them and sell them themselves. Amazon Basics, of course, you might have chargers or other products that are sold by Amazon, created by Amazon. And so it's a little bit dangerous for small businesses. They need to be a little bit on their toes because Amazon is a great company as far as providing value, but they are fierce and they don't really care about the small business owner's feelings, so to speak. They're going for the most value to the customer.
So their intentions are not as pure as maybe they'd like us to think they are.
They're not always as pure, but if you talk to them and you talk to employees there, they really care about customers and customer experience. It's all they talk about. So they do feel like they're offering value to the world by making customers' lives easier and better. And it's just the kind of Darwinism, dog eat dog world where if you're not providing value and you're not providing the best price, then you're going to disappear.
Yeah, for sure. So understand what a modern customer experience looks like. Help us to understand that.
Let me tell you about my morning. I have a 2-year-old toddler named Naomi. I wake up and the first thing I do is I open my Amazon Alexa show and I open an app called Nest where I look at her on the baby monitor. Then if she's still sleeping, I get my coffee and I go sit on the couch and I use another app called Headspace, which is for meditation. So first thing that I do in the morning is use technology. Second thing, use technology. Then I go to my gym, Orange Theory, using more technology, which is an IoT device where my workout is gamified. Technology shapes my entire morning. And now I'm comparing that personalized experience I get through that technology, whether it's an app or other product like Alexa, and I'm comparing it to every other product and experience that I have throughout the day. So that's insurance, cable, healthcare. So now every company is held to that same standard from our beloved customer experiences, which are shaped by technology. So Spotify, Amazon, Apple, Netflix. These are companies that are using technology for a competitive advantage. And I personally enjoy them as a customer as well.
Sure. So for the small business owners that are listening right now that say, how do we compete in that environment? We don't have billions of dollars for the development of some of these apps and some of the technology needed to go up against some of those brands that you just mentioned. How can they do it if they have 100 employees or 150 employees in their company and they want to offer all of that technology at all of the touch points?
So the secret sauce is so simple. It's really about that customer experience mindset. Being small is actually an advantage because you have the ability to go talk to customers on an individual basis, and you have the ability to personalize that experience, do something extra for your customer. And customers today truly love that personalized interaction. And they're not going to get that from some of these bigger companies. I mentioned technology companies, but those are just a few. Of course, there's millions of large companies. If you are small, it can be an advantage because you can personalize that interaction and you can talk to your customers.
Yeah. You can be much more nimble, right, and much more responsive, even
Absolutely.
without the technology, right?
Yeah, you can pivot faster. And there's a lot of talk today about digital transformation. But it's also about something called transcendence, when you are literally changing your business model and shedding your old skin overnight to change with the times, to change with customer behavior. And that is what is required today. And being small when you need to pivot or shed your skin is a huge advantage.
Yeah, for sure. So what is the do more, and I know that's an acronym, but what is the do more framework that will make your business more competitive?
So Do More is the framework from my book, which articulates the 6 pieces of a customer experience strategy. Because when I wrote my book, I was so frustrated because I found that people were using the phrase customer service and customer experience interchangeably.
Right.
And I felt that customer experience is shaped by so much more than simply the post-service problem that we might go to customer service if we have a problem. But how about the product design? What is the culture like? How do we modernize our operations with technology? How about what are we measuring and how are we improving accountability within the company? And last, how are we embracing disruption and innovation? And so those 6 pieces define customer experience, and it's much more than just service. And that's from my book, More is More.
Having said all of that, for some of the people that are listening right now, they probably make that same mistake many cases, not all of them, but customer service with customer experience. They think they've got a great customer service department or a great team, but that's not necessarily customer experience, right? I mean, the customer experience may start online when you actually reach out to that company, and how was the journey to the sale, right? And what was it like after you took delivery of the product or service and all that goes into that.
That's absolutely what I'm talking about. I mean, think of the mug that's sitting on your desk. Who made that mug? Did they test it out so it's that perfect, thin layer so when you sip it, it's not too big, you can really taste your coffee
right.
easily. So, there's so many other aspects of your experience of a product, even a mug, that go on behind the scenes. And it's really a missed opportunity because if you want at your small business to have a conversation about experience, you should bring in HR, bring in everybody, bring in sales, marketing, finance. Everyone touches the customer in some way.
That's for sure. And sometimes we'll see that business owners don't actually go on to their own websites to buy their own products, right? We'll see this. We just had a specialist on that develops websites for companies, and he'll come into companies and he'll take a look at the website and he'll try to buy a product on it, and he'll find, wow, this was a major problem and the areas didn't fill in properly, and then they came up that said, wrong answer again, and finally you just become frustrated with the experience online. And then when he said he would meet with the owner of the company, they had no idea that this was taking place. Well, that's because no one in the company was actually buying products from that company that they work for. So they thought, well, if they have a problem, then they'll probably hear about it from their customers. But how many customers actually take the time to reach out to a company and say, hey, you've got a problem on your website? They just move on to another provider of that service, right? So
Absolutely.
Is it a safe exercise for business owners to check out what it's like to do business, whether it be walking in the front door of the business or going online, to actually buying a product all the way through and actually seeing how it comes to your home in the delivery and how long it takes.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. You really need to know your customer experience. If you personally wouldn't want to go through that customer journey of the website or mobile, then of course we would never want to offer that experience to someone else if we personally wouldn't enjoy experiencing that. Absolutely. That is just table stakes to know the experience, and also make it easy to get feedback. So we're not talking about data today, but data and predictive analytics is a huge new hot business topic where companies are able to look at unstructured data and look at the feedback online or in other places and say, well, here's what customers are experiencing, and here's how we can do a better job of fixing their experience in the future. Or finding issues that the customer might not even be aware of. We're fixing them in real time before they even happen.
Sure. And social media can play a very big role in that, can it, for small businesses today? It kind of, at some degree, maybe even levels the playing field somewhat so that you can compete with the giants out there, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I am a small business owner. I have my own business, and I have been able to create an entire business for myself through social media, through being able to compete with other consultancies and speaking bureaus. So I believe in it for the individual entrepreneur and for small businesses. And there's so much free feedback online. All you have to do is set up a Google search and you'll learn everything you want to know about how your customers feel about your brand.
And then it's important to get right back to those customers that maybe had a negative experience with your brand or your business, right?
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity for small businesses to turn around a bad experience. It makes sense because if you go on Yelp and you see that somebody had a bad experience, let's say at a restaurant, when that manager goes and responds and says, hey, Jim, we're so sorry that you didn't like your meal, but let's make it right for you. Other people are reading that, and the company is able to redeem themselves out of a negative review, and it really makes them look like they can be trusted.
Maybe set the stage for us to leverage AI to make customers' lives easier and better.
Yeah, so artificial intelligence, it's really an improved version of a person. So I think about, well, if I could make a better version of myself, artificial intelligence, I would work faster. I would be able to remember every single thing that happened, everyone's name, every detail. I would be able to identify patterns and make amazing educated guesses and hypotheses from the data and looking at these patterns. And so this is the beauty of machine learning and artificial intelligence, is simply plowing through millions of pieces of data and being able to make connections among that data in a way that the human being would never be able to do.
And that's something that all small businesses really have to pay more attention to, right? I mean, for some of the companies that are listening, when they think, oh, that's what she's talking about is out there with, moving into the AI space and really focusing in on that for the future of our small business. That is here to stay, right?
Well, for small businesses, a lot of them have websites. You go to the website and then you find a chatbot pops up and starts messaging you. So that is AI.
Right.
AI is three things. AI is chatbots, AI is personalization, and AI is consumer insights. And so it's probably intimidating for a small business owner to start to learn about AI and how it works. But those three areas, they can get a huge advantage if they start looking at AI for customer experience, looking at the three areas I just mentioned: chatbots, personalization, and customer insights.
And you're really doing your customer a big service in a big way to have those capabilities, right? I mean, isn't it a level of expectation now on behalf of the consumers to say, how come I can't just chat rather than making a phone call or talking to somebody?
Yeah, I think a lot of millennials especially don't want to pick up the phone. Chat is an amazing medium. So if you can empower your chatbot to actually be accurate, that's a form of self-service that customers really love. And hey, it's a lot cheaper for the small business owner as well.
Yeah, for sure. What trends do you see moving into 2019 in businesses? And if you had to, I know you talk as a speaker around the country, big companies and small. And from your perspective, what should small businesses be focused on as we move into 2019?
There are a few, I think, key things to think about. Number one is simply customer experience mindset, that it's not enough for a small business to hire one customer officer and think that they're done with customer experience. It has to be in the lifeblood of the company where everyone understands that they touch the customer in some way. So the first trend is that no one can own customer experience. It's got to be the first thing every employee thinks about when they wake up in the morning. The second thing I would say is really important is data privacy and data ethics. We saw in Europe that GDPR hit, which is a data regulation, and really changed how businesses could market to customers and engage with the customer and customer data. I think that soon the US will also have to face this idea of data ethics and customer privacy. A lot of Americans don't understand how vulnerable they are. I see my friends posting tons of pictures of their kids online. My data was actually stolen. My identity was stolen and used to scam customers. And a fake Facebook page was made about me. So let's say data ethics affects everybody. And now I think Americans are waking up that their data matters and they have to be more aware of these issues. The third trend is personalization. Personalization is the future. I told you about my morning with my toddler and all my apps that I love. People want that personalized individual experience. It feels good when someone remembers something about the last interaction. It's the same with companies. Our companies have amnesia. We call our bank. They don't know who we are.
Right.
We call the wrong department. We've got to repeat ourselves. A lot of stops and starts. The modern customer wants a personalized experience which makes their life easier and better and is just truly treating them as an individual person.
Yeah, that is for sure. Well, Blake Morgan, customer experience futurist, keynote speaker, best-selling author, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Atlanta Small Business Show. This has been very enlightening. I know our viewers are going to get a lot out of this, and I'd love to have you back on the show as we move into 2019 to get some updates on what small businesses should focus on as we move ahead.
Thank you so much. It's been great.
Be sure to check us out on social. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn.
Thanks for watching Atlanta Small Business Show. This has been a JBF Business Media production.